No, turn back on. Oh my God, it's not moving. That's not good. I can't move, the car's not turning on. Oh, dude, it kills it. Completely kills it.
So what happened exactly?
If you turn off the auto stop start while the car is literally like off, it won't turn back on.
Oh my God.
Okay, look, the Mahindra Scorpio-N definitely has some things that need to get ironed out, some bugs, some quirks. But when you consider that this top spec Z8L is just under 45 grand drive away for a fully fledged off-road SUV, which is approximately half the price of a Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, it's actually a very attractive car. And I guess for peace of mind, you do get a 7-year unlimited kilometer warranty. So as you've probably guessed by now, today we're reviewing the Mahindra Scorpio-N. Fun play of words there, because if it's not Scorpio-N, it's Scorpion. This is actually a 6-seat off-road SUV that comes in significantly cheaper than some of its major competitors. Even the Mitsubishi Pajero Sport, an older but still very confident 7-seat off-road SUV. Today we're going to take a look around the exterior of the Mahindra Scorpio-N. We're going to check out the almost luxurious interior. We're going to take this thing for a drive and battle with its stop-start system. And we're going to launch it, see just how quick or slow the Mahindra Scorpio-N is. So let's get straight into it. So as you guys know, on the channel, we recently reviewed this thing's brother, the Mahindra XUV 700, which is actually extremely different from this thing. But one thing it had was a lot of active safety tech. Unfortunately, the Mahindra Scorpio-N comes with none of that. I mean, it's got your usual airbags, but there is nothing on the active safety front. And I need to point that out because as a family SUV, it really should have all of that. Mahindra do say that the only reason it doesn't have that is because it's so popular in India, its home market, that the supply for the parts is just not there, and it will be coming when this thing is facelifted. And it's only just snuck in from the tightening safety regulations in Australia that any new car now introduced into Australia has to have at least autonomous emergency braking. And even the Land Cruiser 79 series that I recently reviewed has autonomous emergency braking now, so this should have it too. Rant over, let's talk about how it looks. It's actually a pretty handsome SUV. I like the LED lights here, really good to see as standard. You've also got these cool daytime running lights, you've got an LED fog lamp there, and sequential indicators. So this thing looks really premium on the roads. You'll also notice that it's actually quite wide and quite tall, but not very long. So it's not as long as a lot of its off-road competitors, but that's a pretty good thing. The shorter the wheelbase, generally, the better for off-roading. The grille isn't oversized. You've got the Mahindra badge there and a camera up front. Because this is top spec, it does get a forward-facing camera, really well equipped, especially at the price. Okay, coming to the side of the Mahindra Scorpio-N, you're going to notice these 18-inch wheels. It's actually a really, really good size. It's probably about as big as you want to go if you're actually going to take this thing off-roading, and they're wrapped in some decent tires. They're called Wanderers. I've never heard of them before. Seem to be all-season tires, but they've got a big sidewall to them, so hopefully this thing is comfortable, and spoiler alert, it's really damn good. I'm a big fan of this feature. Listen to this. That's metal. There's a big trend at the moment of getting plastic side steps that will get destroyed as soon as you take them off-roading. This thing, it's pretty solid. You've got keyless entry and go. You've got huge roof rails up there too. No tinted privacy glass from the factory. That's a little bit disappointing, but I do like this because it's a Scorpio-N, Scorpion. You can see that it's got like a scorpion's tail up there. A really cool piece of attention to detail. But what really strikes me is the length. It really isn't that long, but it's very tall and wide. So maybe some might say it looks a little bit odd, especially from the rear. Let's talk about that. And then coming to the bum of the Mahindra Scorpio-N, check out these taillights. Have got a cool 3D effect to them. To be honest, it looks exactly like a Mitsubishi Pajero Sports taillights just flipped around. So that's kind of funny. You're gonna notice the very boxy stands of this car, and that's what I mean. I'm not sure if I'm personally sold on the looks of this, but you can let me know in the comment section what you think. You have the 4Explore badge there. That's in reference to its four-wheel drive system because it has a proper four-wheel drive system with a low-range transfer case. That's pretty impressive. You've got the Mahindra badge there. You've also got the Scorpio-N badge, and I like this feature. You have a full-size spare wheel underneath. That's very good. I don't know why, but I'm such a sucker for these types of tailgate. The whole thing just swings open. Look at that. It's really easy too. We might as well talk about boot space while I fanboy over that stuff. You don't have much room in the back with the third row all the way up. You can get maybe a couple of backpacks there, but unfortunately not much more. And then the way that the rear seats fold isn't the best, because in this car, there's no such thing as a flat loading floor. It doesn't really work with these seats because they never truly hide away. You can pull a lever here and that lifts the seats forward. You do have to lock them in place with this little hook. And then you actually get a decent amount of room back here. And of course you can drop the second row, but that just leaves you with a giant hump in the floor. So it definitely does not do a very good job. In fact, I would say this is one of the worst in class for its boot practicality. But if you can live with that, you'll probably be fine. Let's check out the interior. Okay, so coming to the interior now of the Mahindra Scorpio-N. On the surface, it looks fantastic. I love the contrasting material. I just don't love to touch it. So this is nice and soft, but this is all scratchy pretty much the whole way around. Soft touch material is generally very important because it helps to soak up road noise, but thankfully it's still pretty quiet in here when you are driving. I love this steering wheel. It feels so good to hold in the hands. You have buttons to control everything, including your little display up front, which actually has quite a few different menus to it, and you can even turn off the gauges, so you just have a nice little minimal look in the center. It's pretty cool. Now, disappointingly, this infotainment display does not come with Apple CarPlay, unlike the XUV 700. Mahindra do say that they will add it as a firmware update, but I believe you should never buy something with the promise of a future feature. It could be delayed, it could never happen, you never know. So unfortunately, in my week of testing, it's been a little annoying, I'm not gonna lie. But it is super responsive. It's clearly got a good processor behind it. You've also got physical buttons here to control it, which is great. The other thing is it doesn't come with navigation or digital radio. So a couple of features I would probably expect at this price point even. You have your air conditioning controls here. They're physical, they're super easy to use. And then you have a row of buttons down here, including your auto stop start, which is probably the most used button I have in this car. Unfortunately, it defaults to on every time you drive. And you'll see why that's an issue later. Also, this thing has a Sony sound system. It's not the best. It's okay. It's just not the best. You do have speakers in the roof though. That's a pretty cool experience. Practicality is also not the best. So you have one cup holder up front. You do have some door bins, but you can't put a cup in there. You do get a wireless charger up here and a couple of USB ports and a nicely padded center armrest, but there isn't much storage on the inside. Again, this thing feels just a little bit compromised, especially when you compare it to the fantastic layout of the Mahindra XUV 700. I really implore you to watch that. But similar to the XUV 700, you get these fantastic seats. No, they're not real leather, but they could fool you. They're perforated, they look great. On the driver's side, you have automatic controls. You don't have any leg tilt adjust, but these seats do have lots of leg support, which I really appreciate. Often on these cheap cars, you don't get them. You also get a little sunroof up here. That's good to see. As I said, this is a proper off-roader, and you have your off-road controller here. So you have 4 different drive modes: normal, you've got grass, gravel, snow, mud, rut, and sand mode. And what that does is it will automatically engage 4-wheel drive for you, and it will also optimize the traction control system to give you the best grip conditions off-road. It's also got a low-range transfer case. All you need to do is press a button and it does it. So all that is pretty impressive. And let me know if you guys want to see a full off-road review down in the comment section. Okay, so getting into the back seats. The reason I showed myself getting in is because often with these ladder frame chassis vehicles, the second row can actually be quite difficult to get into because of the raised floor, but I have not experienced that at all. It's fantastic back here. Look at this. Heaps of leg room, heaps of toe room, heaps of headroom too. You're also going to notice that there's 2 seats in the back, not 3. Now, typically the Australian market does prefer 3 seats in the back as a bench, but I'm not complaining because honestly, let me just put down my armrest. Oh, it's nice back here. The quality of materials is not great. You do get a couple of air vents though with your own fan control and a USB-C port. You've also got map pockets with a hidden phone pocket there too, and these seats, just like up front, are really nice and soft and feel very supportive. And mostly I'm just happy that my legs aren't at a stupid angle. It's actually quite comfortable here. The benefit of having these captain's chairs in the back is that you can actually really easily access the third row, or you can just pull a lever for this seat and it folds forward. And then you've got a couple more seats in the back, and actually at 5'11", I fit okay. No, I don't have much leg room. It would be okay in a pinch, but I do have plenty of toe room, and headroom is okay as well. So for such a short car, this thing is actually quite impressive with its packaging. I just wish it had Apple CarPlay and more cup holders. There's none in the back. Let's be honest, your Macca's runs are gonna be compromised. Let's drive this thing. Okay, so driving the Mahindra Scorpio-N. Let's put our foot down Give it a bit of sauce. It's okay. So powering the Scorpio-N is a 2.2 litre turbo diesel 4-cylinder. On paper, it's actually a little disappointing. 129 kilowatt of power, 400 newton meters of torque. That's about the lowest power and torque output in its class, but I swear it doesn't feel that way. You put your foot down, the 6-speed AEST torque converter transmission does a pretty good job at dropping gears, and it builds power pretty decently. It's also got a brake to towing capacity of 2.5 tons for those of you who want to do some towing, though I think if you load this thing fully up and then you try and tow 2.5 tons, that's probably when you're going to notice that lack of power. Here's though where the Scorpio-N is unbelievably good, and I mean this genuinely. It's a body-on-frame construction, which usually have really compromised driving dynamics just because there's a lot of weight. Essentially, it's 2 steel beams and they put the body on top. I swear to you, this feels like a monocoque design construction. It is so taut and well put together. I can't describe it, but you take one for a drive, you'll see what I mean. It helps that this thing has an Australian suspension tune using good componentry. The front is double wishbone, which is not something you see very often. The steering weight feels like almost perfect. You turn it and it goes exactly where you want it to go. I'm shocked. I'm genuinely shocked. I could not do these kind of speeds in a Mitsubishi Pajero Sport around here, for example. Body roll is quite minimal considering it's a really impressive package, and it makes no sense to me why it's this good. Genuinely, it's really good. Not to mention, the damping is just, I would say it's almost perfect. Around town, it's nice, it's soft, it's compliant. Then when you're at these kind of highway speeds out in country Victoria, it soaks up bumps really well, minimal body roll. I don't know, the Mahindra engineers have genuinely worked their magic. So what's the bad? Well, really the only bad I can think of is just like the XUV 700 that we reviewed, the stop-start system is not good and I would turn it off every single time. And I'm not one to usually turn those systems off. I find them pretty minimally invasive. But I mean, when you come to a stop and then the lights flash every time you resume, it's not good. And sometimes you'll get these weird effects. I wonder if it'll do it now, where here at Saucy Corner, we'll come to a stop, engine will turn off. No, it didn't do it there, but sometimes it'll just hold 1,000 RPM and it won't stop until you take your foot off the accelerator. It's a weird bug in the system. Here's our first corner. Ooh, did you hear the traction come on then? Yeah, this thing has a very hyperactive traction control system, and now it won't give us much power. Oh, yeah, that's not great. That's not great. The issue with a really hyperactive traction control system is that it's not great for the brakes. So, yeah, and when you combine it with the fact that it's got 0 active safety, I don't like that, and I think that that's a real miss, especially in the Australian market. And for families, I don't know, that's a big miss for me. But based on the mechanicals of how this thing drives, I am really impressed, and I did not expect to be this impressed from the brand who makes the pickup. But we need to get into our final test, which is the performance test. Let's launch this. Some might say this is the ultimate test of a 4x4 SUV. Launching it. No, turn back on. Oh my God, it's not moving. That's not good. I can't move, the car's not turning on. That's not a good bug at all, but let's launch it. Ready? Here we go. Oh. Decent amount of grunt, surprising despite the paper figures. It's okay. 0 to 100 in 11.51 seconds. Not sure about why the car wouldn't turn on though, that wasn't great. All right guys, I've actually got Jacob here on the phone now. I think we've worked out what the bug is. You come to a stop, the car will turn off, and then if you turn off the auto stop start, the car just won't turn back on. So that is a bug that they need to fix. I don't believe it, bro. It's just a bug. It's just a bug. Fix the bug, Mahindra. Otherwise, it's a great car. All right, let's get into our final thoughts.
Wow.
Okay, final thoughts on the Mahindra Scorpio-N. Should you buy one? Well, look, this thing is really good in most places. I was genuinely thrown by how well it drives, except for the auto stop-start system. I think the fact that it doesn't come with any active safety is a real letdown, especially in 2023. And if this is your family car, you want your car to be as safe as possible. However, if you are looking for an off-road vehicle and you don't want to break the bank, but you still want that 7-year unlimited kilometer warranty and a car that drives so well, I'm blown away. Not to mention a really premium interior and a decent enough exterior. I think you're gonna really like the Mahindra Scorpio-N. It comes in at half the price of a Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. It's just mind-blowing to me, while still delivering so many of the goods. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section, just below that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We would love to have you around. You can click over there to watch our Land Cruiser Prado review. This thing's much more expensive competitor. Or the Mahindra XUV 700. This thing's better on-road, brother. And of course, you can get finance over there. Ciao for now.